Greetings in the name of the Most High Jah Rastafari. My good name is Marley Moses, the positive warrior, alongside...
Yes, sir, DJ D-Rage, the baddest. Each and every Wednesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 TV.
Tunakuletea the biggest reggae party in 254 in a yard extra. Extra niceness of reggae music.
Extra dose of entertainment.
When the thing is nice,
we have to do it twice.
Father,
you will conceive and give birth to a son, and you will call his name Jesus.
The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has chosen me to bring good news to the poor.
not my will, however yours.
I understand that many have already hailed him as king.
Is it with a kiss that you betray the Son of Man?
Then take this cup from me. Not my will, however yours. Yours be done.
Are you the king of the Jews?
As we come on air tonight, the government has reassured the release of NGCDF funds. This just coming in a day after the lawmakers were up in arms over the continued delay of the said funds. That and plenty more is shaping the news tonight, including business and sports. But before we prime you, as usual, the day's highlights.
As leaders, as parents, as teachers, we must also protect our children.
I will protect learners from any form of exploitation, says President Ruto as he hosts the winners of this 2025 National Drama and Film Festival. Beira North MP Geoffrey Ruku bids goodbye to Parliament ahead of his swearing in tomorrow to join the cabinet alongside Hannah Cheptumo. Kikuyu elders in a cleansing ritual on the Nairobi-Nakuru highway, ostensibly to rebuke the spirits of accidents. And ready for occupation. Government announces completion of 5,000 affordable housing units in central Kenya as it launches a nationwide public sensitization campaign. Thank you for choosing KBC Channel 1 to inform you this Wednesday night. I'm Doreen Arange. Lucy Maura is our sign language interpreter. Prime Edition starts now. And President William Ruto is calling on members of society to protect Kenyan children from persons who may want to exploit them in one way or another. The head of state spoke Wednesday when he presided over the 63rd edition of the National Drama and Film Festival at the Nakuru State House, where he reaffirmed his administration's commitment to fight negative ethnicity. The festival saw selected winners from every level of education showcase their winning pieces before the head of state before receiving their trophies.
Dripping, dropping, dripping and dropping.
State House Nakuru played host to the 63rd edition of the National Drama and Film Festival. Here, learners had the opportunity to showcase their winning pieces before the head of state in several categories. Among them plays, singing games, solo verses and cultural dances. It is here that the head of state took a swipe at individuals seeking to corrupt the minds of learners for their selfish gains.
As leaders, as parents, as teachers, we must also protect our children. We must say no to people who want to corrupt our children with negative ethnicity and negative politics.
President Ruto affirming his administration's commitment to protect all the creative learners at all levels of education, even as he shunned those fanning negative ethnicity.
As a government, we have strengthened our policy and institutional support for the creative industry. The Kenya Film Commission continues to play a vital role in promoting local talent, offering training and facilitating international collaboration.
On their part, Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos and Principal Secretary Julius Bitok hailed the introduction of the competence-based curriculum, saying the festival has witnessed enhanced talents and creativity among the learners.
We are grateful for your continued leadership and guidance, which has enabled us to place the creative arts at the center of our curriculum-based education. We have successfully implemented the curriculum-based education, and we are now prepared to transition to senior school next year.
CBC curriculum has really enhanced talent and creativity in our students, right from primary school to junior school, and even to senior school, and even to secondary, colleges, and university. We have really seen a lot of talent coming out.
Meanwhile, President William Ruto commended the Kenya Defence Forces for its initiative to provide medical services to civilians through the Ulinzi Prime Health Services Fund.
I was pleasantly pleased this morning to witness the connection between what is offered for military officers, public officers, and citizens of Kenya, converging together in these facilities that would otherwise not be available to members of the public.
The head of state who spoke after launching a 150-bed capacity at the Lanet Barracks in Nakuru County said that opening KDF medical facilities to civilians not only optimizes existing resources, but also strengthens the nation's healthcare infrastructure.
Thank you, sir.
Hannah Cheptumo and Geoffrey Ruku have received the green light for appointment as cabinet secretaries to the Ministries of Gender and Public Service, respectively. This is after the National Assembly approved their nomination. MPs, however, faulted Cheptumo's claims during her vetting that some female university students are murdered in short-stay apartments as they chase after money. Meanwhile, the fate of Stephen Isaboke, nominated as Principal Secretary for Broadcasting and Telecommunication, hangs in the balance after MPs cited a conflict of interest. Our reporter, Abdiaziz Hashim, with the details.
Hannah Cheptumo and Geoffrey Ruku will be the latest entrants to President William Ruto's cabinet.
You cannot skin a monkey when he's looking at you. That is the African proverb, Mr. Speaker, from where I come from. So can he leave the chamber?
The nominees for gender and public service respectively received the nod from Parliament following the approval.
Will, as a member of that opinion, say aye? Will those of opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
However, a section of legislators took issue with Cheptumo's remarks during her vetting, where she alluded that some female university students are murdered in short-stay apartments as they chase after money.
I still think that the statement she made was unfortunate. It's completely politically incorrect.
Order. And not to agree with the killers that they were looking for money or they were looking for what? Who told you when you are with a woman in a room she's looking for money? Who told you? It could be the man who's looking for money. It could be the man who's poor.
Honorable members, that in future we should not come to the House and say that we appoint ministers on sympathy.
The Gender Cabinet Secretary nominee has since apologized for her controversial remarks.
That it was inadvertent, and therefore, on behalf of the good lady, may I offer unreserved apologies, because indeed I'm certain it's something she regretted after she watched what had happened.
But we are all human beings, and that is why today I stand to request and plead with all the women of this country to forgive Hannah Wendeto Cheptumo.
While her public service nominee was accorded a chance to address MPs before he joins the cabinet.
Of this great house. And I thank the people of Better North for giving me an opportunity to serve in this house and also to serve them as well as the people of Kenya.
Meanwhile, the fate of Stephen Isaboke, nominated as Principal Secretary for Broadcasting and Telecommunication, hangs in the balance. This is after the National Assembly Committee on ICT, in a departure from the norm, recommended that Isaboke be reassigned to a different ministry, citing conflict of interest owing to his role at the GoTV Kenya Limited. This as other PS nominees received the nod from both the respective committees and the House. The two CS nominees are expected to take their oath of office at State House Nairobi on Thursday morning. Abdiaziz Oshim for Prime Edition.
Order, Honorable Ruku. Can you walk out?
Now, the race to reshape the country's electoral future is on course, with 6 more candidates being vetted by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission selection panel. The applicants pledged to, among others, integrate voter registration with national ID and passport issuance in a bid to simplify the process of identification and give Kenyans a greater choice in where they cast their ballots. Ben Chumba has been on this bit, and here's that report.
First to appear before the Makanda-led panel was Patrick Sanya Otoshwa, a former voter registration manager at IEBC. With nearly 13 years of experience under his belt, Sanya proposed an ambitious integration of voter registration with national ID and passport issuance, a system he says will streamline identification and empower citizens to choose their voting locations with ease.
The Kenyans have a habit of waiting until the last minute. Even when we do mass voter registration for the 30 days, you will always see an extension of another 15 days.
Dr. Peter Ekruto Ketienya, a seasoned public servant and current chief of staff in Nakuru County, was next. At 47, with over 2 decades in public administration, including stints at county executive member, parliamentary aspirant, and gubernatorial running mate, Ruto made a bold case for why he is ready to bring his governance expertise to the commission.
I'm a forthright person. I'm honest and I'm transparent in my undertakings. I also endeavor to make sure that assignments that are given, we are able to deliver on time. But beyond that, I also try to think at least slightly beyond, to anticipate what's likely to come and see how to mitigate.
Then came Professor Peter Wanyande Odiwuor, a political scientist with over 30 years of university-level teaching and a notable role in the drafting of Kenya's 2010 constitution.
He urged the panel to uphold integrity in the selection process, warning that the credibility of future elections depends on the choices made now.
The selection panel needs to be extremely careful in terms of the kind of people they recommend for appointment to these positions. Because you need people who appreciate the role of those commissions in terms of the impact it has on the Kenyan society and Kenyan people and in the management of this country.
Philip Kaikai, a certified public accountant and assistant director of finance at the judiciary, emphasized the need for urgent amendments in election laws. As chair of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya, ISPAC, Kaikai found himself pressed by the panel on how he will navigate the murky waters of campaign financing.
Within the election, the Campaign Financing Act, there are several things that may also be a little bit difficult to implement. But I must also courageously say here that there is conflict of interest in this thing. It has to go through Parliament, colleagues. And it is the same Parliament that we need to control.
Also interviewed were Ramadhan Abubakar Mukira and Rispa Oworolik. The panel will continue the interviews on Thursday and conclude next week on the 24th. Ben Chumba, Prime Edition.
Time for a break now, but we have more on the other side, including business and sports. Stay put.
Kupitia star 570 hash tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this beautiful Mazda Demio. Enjoy a beautiful clean semi-leather interior, low mileage, fuel-efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business. Ukitaka kujishindia gari hii, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza star 570 hash, chagua option 3. And for only 35 shillings, hii gari inaweza kuwa yako. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa, because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi.
Mungu ni mwema, asante Mungu. Ile nitakuwa naendesha hivi.
Dial star 570 hash and make this dream car yours.
Cheza Loto Moto.
Father, you will conceive and give birth to a son, and you will call his name Jesus.
The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has chosen me to bring good news to the poor.
Not my will, however yours.
I understand that many have already hailed him as king.
Is it with a kiss that you betray the Son of Man?
Then take this cup from me. Not my will, however yours. Yours be done.
Are you the king of the Jews?
Welcome back. You're still on Prime Edition. Let's continue to inform you. And the government has moved to reassure members of Parliament over the delayed release of the National Government Constituencies Development Fund, NGCDF. Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Bardi, appearing before Parliament, said Treasury has released 7 billion shillings as of Wednesday and promised to release another 7 billion shillings by 29th of this month in its move to clear the current backlog, which stands at over 21 billion shillings. Members of Parliament expressed dissatisfaction over the piecemeal reaction, terming the amount too little.
This afternoon, order number 1 is a CDF and GAV. Order number 2, CDF and GAV.
A day after members of Parliament threatened to paralyze business at the National Assembly,
Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi told the MPs that the delay in the disbursement of the National Government Constituency Development Fund monies was not intentional, but a result of overwhelming financial obligations facing the government.
It is because at times the pressure is too much. Sometimes you have to balance between paying the debts, which you must pay, because if you don't pay debts, by the way, there will be no economy.
Mbadi, who cited pending payments in salaries, security operations and debt servicing, assured the House that despite the pressure, the government is committed to settle the monies allocated to NGCDF and National Government Affirmative Action.
We have released the 7 billion. I want to try release another 7 billion before schools open end of this month, so that you sort out the bursary and make sure that the balance we don't carry over to 2025, 2026.
CS, what we want is 21 billion before the end of this month, if not today, and the rest to be cleared by the end of next month.
At the same time, the CS allayed fears that Kenya is on the brink of defaulting on its external debts.
Yes, there were times when we had challenges, but where we are, we don't have a problem with debt sustainability. The numbers are there. The figures are there.
This as legislators expressed frustration over the stalled NGCDF disbursements. Meanwhile, in the same session, Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale appeared before the House and maintained that challenges facing the Social Health Authority (SHA) are largely operational, not legal.
There is a manipulation of the mean testing tool, resulting in very accurate premium. There are people who take Kenyans and want to guide them, take money from them.
Duale further told the House that the audit of NHIF debts is on course. Tilio Marco for Prime Edition.
And our political drumbeats reverberated Wednesday with the Jubilee Party drumming up support for former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i to vie for presidency under the party's ticket in the next poll. This as a section of Luo professionals faulted Siaya Senator James Orengo and ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna for allegedly sabotaging the broad-based government. John Kahiro with details of what is transpiring on the political front.
Jubilee Party Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni, in a briefing at the party headquarters, drummed up support for former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i to be the party's presidential flag bearer in the 2027 poll.
We in Jubilee are ready to seize power. We were there before. Now we will have an activity in the coming days, and like we have said before, we have our presidential candidate. You know, a person akisema tunaenda. Hiyo tu. That is why Matiang'i seems to be doing better. Even the polls that are being done informally, he seems to be doing better than many others. And we are happy that we are associated with him as a party.
This as they faulted the government for allegedly focusing on political rhetoric as opposed to addressing challenges facing the country.
When they took over power, fuel was selling at 159 shillings per litre. As of yesterday, the announcement they made, they are doing 174 shillings per litre. We are doing worse than we were doing more than 2 years ago.
Separately, a section of Luo professionals are now demanding that Siaya County Governor James Orengo and ODM Party Secretary General Edwin Sifuna apologize over their remarks during the burial of Raila Odinga's aide George Oduor.
So Governor Orengo, please desist. And if you don't, we will bring the war to your doorstep, including thinking of impeachment, because this is gross misconduct. The county government must work alongside the national government. And that is what we say.
It is high time to really engage in very meaningful conversations with the leaders, taking advantage of opportunities like what we had, said that some of the projects that he was even calling out the government to ensure that they are completed, he can engage separately, differently, and leveraging on the opportunity that His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga has created through the broad-based cooperation.
They're accusing the duo of sabotaging the broad-based government.
You embarrassed the President of the Republic of Kenya, whom as a community we recognize and we respect. We demand that you apologize to Right Honorable Raila Odinga and to the President.
And a section of civil society organizations from Kiambu County want the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to hasten the probe into alleged embezzlement and procurement malpractices linked to Kiambu County Governor Kimani Wamatangi.
We laud the EACC for this bold move, and we demand that swift action also follows to bring to book those culpable. We want to see convictions to those that will be found culpable.
The group says the probe is a crucial step towards curbing graft, dismissing claims by Wamatangi of a political witch hunt.
A colossal amount of money, over 12 million, was recovered both in Kenya shillings and US dollars, which is suspected to be proceeds of crime. These are funds which could have been otherwise used to meet the many demands of the people of Kiambu, including healthcare, medicine, water and sanitation.
John Kahiro for Prime Edition.
The Nairobi City County government has refuted claims that it has failed in its mandate to ensure a clean and conducive environment for people and businesses to thrive. According to the County Chief Officer for Environment, Geoffrey Mauricia, the county government is cracking down on all individuals and entities contributing to air and environmental pollution. Joseph Wahungu tells us more.
The Nairobi County government has recently found itself in the eye of a storm, with leaders and a section of residents accusing it of overseeing the dirtiest city in the world. Sights of heaps of uncollected garbage and the influx of hawkers in the city centre are some of the many complaints among the city dwellers. However, the county government is defending its track record in curbing illegal dumping and noise pollution, amongst others.
So far, the city is clean. We are moving to the right direction, and we are doing the best we could to make sure that we achieve a clean city which is adaptable for all.
The Nairobi County Chief Officer in charge of Environment, Geoffrey Mosiria, says efforts to maintain the environmental integrity of the city will continue without fear or favour.
Those who think that there is no law governing the county government of Nairobi as far as the environment is concerned, I want to tell you all, we are coming for you. We shall arrest you, take you to court, so that you face the full force of the law. We can't allow impunity to continue in this city.
He spoke after receiving an award from the International Police Organization in recognition for his role in enforcing environmental integrity in Nairobi.
We want a green environment. We want Nairobi to be back in its full glory of the city, the green city in the sun. I just expect him to keep going the way he's going, tackle it head on, deal with it.
IPO President Andrew Kerr challenged Nairobi residents to individually and collectively take up the role of environmental conservation to ensure safe living conditions for everyone.
And if we pollute the rivers and the ecosystem, what are we consuming? We're consuming our own waste. And it's not healthy. If you'll have noticed, there'll be a lot of rise in cancers, especially, and ailments that were not there before.
Joseph Wahungu for Prime Edition.
Elsewhere, approximately 5,000 affordable housing units are up for grabs in the coming weeks. The Affordable Housing Board says it's in the final phase of allocating eligible Kenyans who have applied and are qualified for allocation of units. The board has called on Kenyans to leverage the ongoing public sensitization campaign in central Kenya, also expected to spread out across other regions of the country, to familiarize themselves with the process of becoming a homeowner through the Affordable Housing Program. Some of the complete projects in central Kenya include Kerugoya, Gishugu, Embu, Nanyuki, Kinangop, and Makenji affordable houses. The sensitization campaign runs till Friday.
What we are saying, and mainly to the first-time homeowners, instead of paying rent month after month for a house that will never be yours, you now have that opportunity through the tenant purchase scheme or in partnership with your preferred financial institution to make affordable monthly payments, even lower than your current rent, towards a home that will eventually become yours. We invite everybody, including Kenyans in the diaspora, to invest back at home and take advantage of the affordable housing program that is now live and will be allocating very soon as the Affordable Housing Board. And to register, it's very easy. Just dial site 32 on your mobile phone and register, or log on to eCitizen platform, walk into any Huduma center.
Former Eastleigh North Police Station Commander Rebecca Muraya and her junior officer Abdisalam Ahmed are facing criminal charges for allegedly torturing a woman of British national. The two are accused of unlawfully detaining Ani Hussein Mohamud on December 31st, 2021. The prosecution informed the court the duo using their position at the National Police Service ordered the arrest and detention of Mohamud at Muthaiga Police Station for 2 days with the motive of intimidating her from pursuing an assault complaint she had lodged against a suspect, Abdi Hakim Saidi Jama. Details in the Scales of Justice segment.
Appearing before Milimani's Chief Magistrate Lucas Onyina, the officers Rebecca Njeri Muraya and Abdisalam Ahmed pleaded not guilty to 2 counts of abuse of office.
The accused persons are entitled to fair administrative actions and processes.
The two allegedly held Aini Hussein Mahmoud in custody without lawful justification for 2 days. The detention was allegedly meant to coerce her into withdrawing a complaint against one Abdi Hakim Said Jama.
The decision was irregular, illegal, or unlawfully obtained. The DPP cannot exercise the request to review that decision. They cannot sit on their own recommendation.
It is alleged that despite her initial report, the officers reportedly failed to take action against Jama.
Upon plea taking, the matter will be allocated a mentioned date in 7 days' time as sought, so that if need be, the DPP can make any necessary application in relation to the charges, including but not limited to any application for amendment under Section 214 of the Criminal Procedure Code.
And a human rights organization has filed a petition at the High Court challenging a presidential committee formed to audit and resolve the issue of pending bills. Operation Linda Jamii, through its legal representative, Professor Fred Ogola, appeared before Justice Grace Nzioka and argued that the committee's mandate lacks constitutional grounding and that the country is grappling with an economic crisis fueled by the government's failure to clear all the pending bills.
It is criminal that the government thinks they can lend you 60 billion shillings to hustler funds, to the small, medium enterprises, while they owe you over 400 billion shillings in pending bills.
The matter is scheduled for mention on 25th April 2025 for further directions. Elsia Tunyamamama restaurant directors Nia Shangavi and Jaya Shangavi have filed a petition at the Milimani High Court against Victoria Commercial Bank, seeking a compensation of 2 billion shillings.
We're seeking a compensation of 2 billion. We are also seeking for a declaration that several articles of the Constitution were grossly violated.
The two claim the bank falsely accused them of criminal misconduct charges that were later withdrawn after intervention by the Director of Public Prosecutions.
We shall also be writing to the regulator, the Central Bank of Kenya, and the Kenya Bankers Association to oversight the gross abuse that financial institutions are engaging and how many deaths of their customers they have occasioned.
Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
Jet A1. Cheza Aviator bila data bila credo. Dial *892# for instant takeoff. Prepare bila pressure kucrash au kucash out. Aviator bila data. Aviator bila credo. Uko na kabambe? Wewe pia ni rubani mnoma. Dial *892#. Jet A1. michezobet.com. Cheza kwa kuwajibika. Kushiriki ni miaka 18 au zaidi. BCLB license number 0000664.
Father, you will conceive and give birth to a son, and you will call his name Jesus.
The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has chosen me to bring good news to the poor.
Not my will, however yours.
I understand that many have already hailed him as king.
Is it with a kiss that you betray the Son of Man?
Then take this cup from me. Not my will, however yours. Yours be done.
Are you the king of the Jews?
Welcome back. Kikuyu Council of Elders under the Kiama umbrella spent the better part of Wednesday along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway for cleansing ceremony following a series of road accidents along the highway. Led by Muthamaki Thiongo Wagetau, the elders prayed for divine intervention, urging the national government. They urged the national government to... All right.
This was the situation on Wednesday as the elders convened along the highway for a ceremony which they say was meant to cleanse the road of frequent road accidents.
Juzi tulipoteza watu watano katika area moja. Siku ingine tukapoteza watu 7. Jana peke yake tulipoteza watu 3. Na ndio maana wazee wote kutoka chama chetu cha juu cha national wakafikiria, wakaona ati kweli ajali zimekuwa mingi.
The elders under Kiama who participated in the cleansing exercise said they were seeking God's intervention through prayer to avert further death along the highway.
Tunajua tukiombea barabara hii yetu, hizo baraka za Mwenyezi Mungu zitatembea kila pahali Kenya, hata na jirani zetu.
Led by Muthamaki Thiongo Wagetau, Gigoshi Waimiru and National Chairman Ndungu Wagaidhuma, the elders call on the government to fulfill its pledge to construct a dual carriageway.
Hiyo itakuwa njia moja ya kupinga mambo ya accident. Njia ingine ya pili ni NTSA wafanye mambo yale inatakana wafanye ya kuangalia mambo ya barabara, public service vehicles, kama ni usingizi kwa madereva waangalie hiyo manifest huwa wanatueleza.
The elders have in the meantime faulted individuals who they say are playing politics on the planned construction of the road, urging them to prioritize the safety of road users.
Barabara imewekwa hapa kama barabara ya kufanya siasa ama ya kampeni. Hii barabara imekaa zaidi bila kupaniliwa.
Mimi siwezi kumbuka waziri wa transport ni nani. Mimi niliwacha akiwa Murkomen. Sasa hii sikumbuki sababu anabadilika haraka haraka. Kwa hivyo hii mambo ya kubadilika leo na leo, tutafute watenda kazi.
These as they call for punitive action against those violating traffic regulations. Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
Time for your business news. And accounting officers will be penalized for late or failure to remit employees' pension deductions if proposals by the Retirement Benefit Authority are passed into law. Retirement Benefit Authority CEO Charles Mashira says in a raft of proposals, amounts owed to pensions funds by government entities will be deducted at source before the entities receive their government allocations.
Pension funds are owed close to 60 billion shillings in non-remittance as employers struggle to meet their statutory obligations. County governments and public universities are the biggest pension defaulters, constituting more than half of the total default amount. Retirement Benefits Authority says in a raft of policy change proposals, accounting officers will personally be held liable and penalized for deducting and not remitting member pension contribution on time.
The employers who do not remit contributions under Section 39 can be found at fault for pursuing a conduct which is not in the best interest of the members.
If you are paying salary, pay plus all benefits. And I think that you should be personally liable as an accounting officer.
Government entities defaulting on pension payments will see their treasury allocations deducted at source to clear outstanding amounts.
And that is being taken care of administratively by ensuring that as we link up the payrolls, we also retain and the money is directly channeled to the pension scheme.
Trustees of pension funds are proposing to have their years of service increased to oversee long-term investments.
We believe that there is merit in reconsidering a longer trustee tenure. Our proposition is perhaps look at a 5-year duration, renewable ones.
Pension schemes are calling for more tax breaks to incentivize the sector and attract more savers.
Occupational pension plans, on the other hand, they are not fully tax exempt. We still have corporation tax being applied on income that accrues on the investment income in the excess of the current 30,000.
If you will ask for exemption throughout. Now, if everybody is exempted, who will pay?
Pension schemes have been encouraged to consolidate their businesses, to grow their asset base and invest in additional asset classes to spread risk and grow the economy. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
The government has kicked off a plan to turn the Kenya Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives into a federation. Cooperatives Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya has unveiled an 11-member team that will steer reforms at the troubled union. Oparanya further says the outgoing board has helped to recover 130 million shillings through the sale of various assets like houses and vehicles. The CS also named a 6-member expert committee to review the Sacco Societies Act of 2008. The team will have 3 months to align the law with emerging trends, establish a central liquidity facility, set up a Sacco deposit guarantee fund, and develop a shared legal and administrative service framework.
Some of the process requires legal undertakings, and when you go legally, you have no control through the legal process. This is up to judiciary. They do at their own pace, according to their own plans. So I can say that the Cusco has been able to pay about 130 million to the past depositors, and is actually in the process of making more recoveries. And as a ministry, we are also looking at the government, if they can come in, and also even development partners, because we feel Cusco was playing a very important role, and we want it as the cooperative bill that is before the Senate. If it becomes an act, then Cusco will proceed to a federation that will act as an advocacy for the Sacco sector.
Going forward, we are talking regulation, we are talking insurance. We want the ecosystem of SACCOs to give our savers that guarantee that a shilling in the bank is as good as a shilling in the SACCO. And we can only give that assurance if the ecosystem is set.
Inuka na loto moto. Sasa kwa star 570 hash option ya 4 kuna kashamba juja na nika 50 by 100 worth 1.7 million Kenyan shillings. Na hii si shamba tu, iko kwa prime location, few minutes from Juja Town. Stima yako iko ndani, na kama ni development, rapid and so promising. Na mambo ya landlord, mwisho wa mwanzo ni hapa. Ukishinda hili shamba, tunakuongeza 1 million Kenyan shillings ujijengee nyumba yako kwa shamba yako. Kuinuka na loto moto ni kucheza sasa hivi kupitia star 570 hash option ya 4 au register deposit na ucheze sasa hivi kwa www.tushinde.com na ujishindie shamba hili na addition of 1 million Kenyan shillings. Inuka na loto moto.
Man, so thank you very much Ulambana to join. This is the Easter special na tuko hapa glorifying the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords.
Unajua Easter, unajua ni Jesus alikam na akadudaia juu ya sin zetu.
Welcome back. The Central Bank of Kenya says the moratorium imposed on licensing new commercial banks will be lifted effective from July 1st, 2025. In a statement, the regulator says the new entrants will be required to show proof that they can meet the enhanced minimum capital requirement of 10 billion shillings. The moratorium had been imposed against a backdrop of governance, risk management, and operational challenges that threatened the sector. Vihiga County Governor Dr. Wilbur Otichilo has announced plans to revitalize the Mwitoko Fish Hatchery and Aquaculture Training Center in Wemilabi, Luanda Sub-County. The fish center aims at enhancing fish farming through access of quality fingerlings and cheap fishing equipment. Our reporter Frederick Mwoki has the details on these stories and others on the corporate briefs.
The Mwitoko facility, established during the economic stimulus program between 2009 and 2011, has grown its ponds from 10 to 31 ponds. It currently produces Nile tilapia and African catfish fingerlings, supplying the Lake Basin region counties. Governor Wilbur Otichilo says the facility is set for a revamp in a joint partnership between the county and the Norwegian Agency for Development Cooperation in a nutrition project. Meanwhile, 27 coffee factories in Kirinyaga have announced a payout of between 100 and 145 shillings per kilogram. Kirinyaga Coffee Cooperative's officials attribute the good sherry beans prices on direct participation at the Nairobi Coffee Exchange, where 14 of the cooperatives have been licensed to trade.
This year we have paid our farmers. The best factory we managed to pay at 145 shillings and 10 cents. That is Gasami factory. And the lowest 118, which is Rwabiti factory.
Mazao ya kahawa iliongezeka na tunaona mwaka huu si kama mwaka jana.
Finally, players in the education sector have been encouraged to introduce comprehensive financial literacy programs for pupils to instill financial discipline to early learners. Speaking during awarding of scholarships, Jubilee Holdings Chair Zul Abdul said financial literacy was key in unlocking individual potential and should be ingrained at an early age.
We are proud to be the hands that help polish that brilliance.
giving young talent the opportunity to grow, thrive, and to reach its fullest potential.
We in the insurance industry look at saving in a particular way. The banks look at it in a slightly different way. And all of us, including our children, we want to see their imagination, and we, even adults, learn from the children of what saving, the power of saving can do.
Frederick Muki for Prime Edition.
And now Kenya is becoming a major exporter of Hass avocado, with the fruit becoming a major source of foreign exchange. Avocado accounts for 17% of all horticulture export from Kenya, making the country a major producer of the fruit in the world. Alan Aoko was in Meru County, where small-scale farmers are reaping big from the fruits of green gold. And he brings us the following report.
A healthy orchard of Hass avocados. The well-sought-after Hass avocado grows here in abundance due to the growing demand. But why enter the competitive Hass export market at this time as a smallholder farmer?
Avocado farming in this region is coming up very well. I think it's now competing with the tea. And for the last few years, farmers are planting a lot of Hass avocado, particularly Hass because that is what has got better prices and has a good market. And that is what informed the formation of the cooperative.
This is Kinyua Kanata, a Hass avocado farmer, who tells us the journey still has its own set of challenges.
Shipment of avocado now is going through South Africa, Cape of Good Hope, now taking about 40 to 45 days, where previously it used to take about 25 days when taken through the Suez Canal. But now, because of the route has got charges from the Yemen libels, the shipment is done through South Africa.
Kinyua says his best trees produce about 2,500 pieces, which is about 500 kilograms per tree.
But it is very lucrative. I'm a farmer who does tea and avocado. I'm not able to compare tea and avocado in terms of the revenue I get from the two, or in terms of the incomes I get. Avocado is almost 5 times what I get from tea.
Kinyua says his best practices have benefited from solutions provided through collaborations with like-minded organizations.
And once we decide who we are going with into the next year, we sit down and negotiate agronomic support, because he has to give our farmers agronomic support. We negotiate payments, we negotiate prices.
According to the 2019 report by the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization, Murang'a County was the leading avocado producer in Kenya, contributing 32% of the national output, followed by Kiambu and Kisii at 13% each. So farmers like Mr. Kinuthia are lucky enough to have credible support from their cooperative societies to agitate for better prices and better division of their export market, especially in this case to the Netherlands. And the call to farmers out there is that you must take due diligence of where you want your produce to go. Alan Aoko, Prime Edition.
From the bliss of new beginnings to the trials of commitment, this is a celebration of resilience, passion, and the power of togetherness. Join us as we unravel real-life stories, because every journey deserves to be cherished, for better, for worse, on KBC Channel 1.
All right, general news done, business done, and Karen Kibet is now here to give you the latest development in the sporting scene. Karen.
Thank you very much, Doreen. I'll now take it away. Let's now take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Now, athletes from the Kenya prisons were last night celebrated for their exemplary performances during their national and international competitions this year. Among the athletes celebrated last night were the medalists at the World Masters Indoor Championship held in Florida, United States.
More than 10 athletes from the Kenya prisons were last night celebrated by the department for their performances in their respective competitions, including those who competed at the World Masters in the United States. Among them were gold medalist Peter Mwangi, who won gold in the shot put, Ibrahim Muya, who won silver in the 60 meters, Elizabeth Mudhoka, who finished fourth in the 400 meters, and Regina Mulatia, who scooped 2 silver medals at the World Masters Games last month.
These athletes have demonstrated that success is not accidental. It is the product of countless hours of sacrifice, rising after every fall, and of daring to dream bigger even in the face of adversity. Their achievements are a reflection of the values we hold dear as a service: commitment, discipline, professionalism, accountability, and teamwork.
Other athletes who were celebrated include Lilian Odira, Abigail Chelangat, and boxer Rayton Okwiri, alongside 2 other civilian athletes who will be recruited by the prisons department.
Let us always remember that as much as we compete, we also grow. Win or lose, what matters is the spirit in which we play, the lessons we take, and the unity we strengthen.
The athletes were honored by Principal Secretary in the State Department of Correctional Services, Salome Biko, who said the sportsmen and women are being honored because of their spirit of perseverance, discipline, and patriotism that defines true champions.
Let us not only honor our champions, but also renew our collective commitment to nurture, encourage, and invest in the untapped potential within our ranks. Let this serve as a reminder: while we safeguard the present, we must also remain committed to shaping a future filled with promise, both on the field and beyond.
She urged the department through their coaches to continue investing in the talents available. Miriam Cherop and Millicent Nyambane were the 2 civilian athletes also celebrated.
Thank you, Buckley, for that report. Moving on, the national under-21 men's and women's hockey teams have departed for Namibia ahead of the 2024 Junior Africa Cup, which gets underway this Friday. The tournament will now be played in a round-robin format following a revision of fixtures after Ghana and Nigeria withdrew due to financial constraints. The Kenyan men's team will kick off their campaign against Zimbabwe on Friday, followed by a clash with Egypt on Saturday. They will then face hosts Namibia on Monday, Zambia on Tuesday, and conclude their preliminary matches against South Africa on Thursday. On the women's side, Kenya opens its campaign on Friday against Namibia, followed by Uganda on Saturday. They will then face South Africa on Monday, Zambia on Tuesday, and will wrap up the group stage against Zimbabwe. Originally scheduled for last year, the tournament also serves as a qualifier for the 2025 Junior Hockey World Cup in Chile and India for the women and men respectively. Gor Mahia Deputy Patron Eliud Owalo has a primary objective of constructing a football stadium for Gor Mahia, as he gladly accepted his appointment to help in steering the club forward. Owalo revealed his ambition for the club while meeting the players on Wednesday afternoon in Nairobi.
Eliud Owalo has formally accepted his appointment as the deputy patron of Gor Mahia Football Club, taking over long-serving Cyprian Otieno Awiti, who stepped aside due to health reasons. With helping in steering the club forward, Owalo revealed that top on his agenda is to see the club play their home matches in their home stadium.
It is a pity that clubs like Simba and Azam Football Club, which hitherto had been playing second fiddle to Gor Mahia, are today powerhouses in soccer in the region and even have better facilities than we do. We cannot continue like that. We must correct that anomaly.
At the same time, Owalo said that he will also advocate for the recruitment of higher caliber players to boost competitiveness and also streamline operations of the club, challenging them to lift the FKF Premier League title this season.
We want a situation where the club is professionally managed, with the leadership exhibited by the chairman and the vice chairman, but a fully functional secretariat, operational secretariat, where even club members can go and raise issues of concern and also make suggestions as to what needs to be done with a view to strengthening the operations of the club.
Gor Mahia are third on the Premier League table with 46 points, 2 behind second place Tusker FC and 3 points behind leaders Kenya Police, but the two leaders have played a game more. Their next fixture is away to Sofapaka on Saturday.
And finally, each player and technical bench member of the Kenya National Rugby Sevens team has received a 75,000 Kenya shilling bonus from sponsors SportPesa following their stellar performance at the Singapore leg of the HSBC series. Kenya finished second in Singapore after losing the final to Fiji.
Singapore Men's Cup final is underway.
After winning the Singapore Sevens leg back in 2016, the Kenya National Rugby Sevens team Shujaa was at their very best again this season, reaching the final but eventually losing to Fiji, who they beat back in 2016 to lift their only title. From that performance, their best this season so far, SportPesa has rewarded each member of the team with bonus of 75,000 shillings. The Sevens team is now looking to go the full distance at the final leg of the season to be held in Los Angeles next month.
When we signed the contract, we did not have bonuses initially. Then we created this bonus initiative, and then the whole world was now congratulating Shujaa for what we did in Singapore.
Meanwhile, Makueni County aged defending champions Busia 1-0 at Kirubia Stadium in the men's soccer opener as this year's Kenya Youth Inter-County Sports Association Under-23 games kicked off in Homa Bay County. Hosts Homa Bay County defeating Lamu 3-1, while Migori and Tana River played to a 1-1 draw. Only 20 out of 47 counties are participating in this year's edition due to delayed disbursement of funds from the national government, which has hindered the preparation and participation of many county teams.
Our objective is to reach the grassroots to the lowest level possible, and we can see this is being achieved, and so we really encourage counties to continue doing that.
Elsewhere, the first ever women's football tournament in Kericho kicked off at Kericho Teachers Training College, sponsored by Anto, a director at Betting Control and Licensing Board. A total of 24 teams are participating in the 5 days tournament, which will culminate on Saturday at Kiprugut Chumo Stadium in Kericho town.
But every time that we think about something to give to the communities, as leaders, we come back home, yes, but we always forget our mothers, we forget our sisters, we forget our aunties, we forget ourselves as women. So I thought, please, let me start with myself.
Meanwhile, celebrations erupted at Madibo Secondary School, Busia County, as students, teachers and residents welcomed back their athletics team from the national championships held in Mombasa. The triumphant team received a hero's welcome at Mungatsi Market, after which the procession marched more than 20 kilometers to Madibo Secondary School.
Nikashiriki mchezo ya 5,000 walking race. Nikakuwa number 1.
Finally, 32-year-old Zabulon Katana Kahinde is the newest millionaire in town after winning 15 million shillings Betika midweek jackpot. Beja, who irons garments at a local factory in Mombasa, hails from Ganze village in Kilifi County.
Beautiful. Thank you for that detailed report. And that brings us to the end of the sports news this evening. My name is Karen Kibet, and I'm now joined by my colleague Doreen, who is on my left side. Doreen?
Yeah, you have to do like, is this left, right, left, whatever that is.
Left.
I know.
I got it right.
Okay, thank you so much, Karen, for that. And that's all the time we had for you tonight. We really appreciate you so much for keeping us company from 9 p.m. till now. We don't take that for granted. Thank you so much. This has been Prime Edition. I'm Doreen Arange. Lucy Maura has been our sign language interpreter. Good night.
Town Express. Twende bwana, town. Watu ya town twende. Kalia hapo nyuma, kalia. Bado haijajaa, dereva watu wengine 7.
Kwani wazako si ungekulia kweli? Sasa umetoka wapi? Mimi sitaki mahindi leo.
Wewe unanichia mkate.
Siagushi mkate fubi.
Wewe ongea bora usikuze mkate yangu.
Si ushike hii. Wazako kulia huko mbali na mimi. Si mimi nakulamiwa ni wewe.
Donda, gari imejaa na bado unasema watu waingie. Tuambie dereva hapo apunguze wimbo. Niongee na kama hapa.
Hakuna volume inapunguzwa hapa. Kama unataka kuendesha gari yako, enda dial *570#. Option ya 3. Watu wanaendesha magari hapa yenyewe na wewe bado unapiga nyanyenye kwa matatu. Option 3, unalipa ama unasuka?
Comfort yako iko kwa *570#. Option 3, Master Genio moja. Safi, reliable, modern safety and security features. Cheza mara kadhaa.